Hello, all greetings. This is Gilles Mention. I thought I'd come back to you today. I went to exercise and I thought to make this another video in French, but then I figured, that even if there's very few people listening to those videos in English, it was still worthwhile to communicate those ideas I wanted to add for today. So I hope you will find them interesting. First thing I want to say is that it's good to allow yourself the time to make things happen in your life within the benevolence of God, within the timing of God, because the ego can force things into completion, but it is usually it creates karma when we force things into completion. When we allow the time for all things, all the elements to be there, the things happen a lot more gracefully. So it's about being in gratitude also for that connection, for those who are spiritual, for I'm addressing those the family of light, for you are all those who follow those videos are attuned to this frequency of light, and so to be grateful to God in advance for your liberation, for intervening within your life, and then once to ask your soul for freedom. What do I need to do to find my freedom, to find my joy, my abundance? For the soul already knows, for your creator already knows all that. And then to ask it for the planet deserves this freedom as well. There is all kinds of all the darkness all the dark scenarios have to come to an end in order for the new to begin. And so we are here to envision, to embody this divine light so that we can assist in this process. I wanted to say also that sometimes as we open ourselves to the fifth dimensional realm, our multi-dimensional nature, we become empathic. We were able to receive telepathic messages. But for many years, I used to hear messages that were sent to me, but I couldn't hear a word that was saying. It was very frustrating. I heard that Spirit was sending me messages, but I could not pick them up. But now I can pick them up. So be patient. It is a sign that there is an opening. The fact that you're hearing voice, even if you cannot understand the message, or if you can see a vision. Visions usually come as a natural result. It's just for me, I'm bombarded with vision for the past 30 years. As the guardian of the higher sight, I am always bombarded by vision. But sometimes I see things like a word or phrase, something that appears before me, and I cannot grasp it. It disappears before. For in many sense, if God wants you to hear something, He can shut it in your mind. If God wants you to see something, He can flash it before your eyes, so you'll never forget it. But sometimes it's a process. We have to allow ourselves, like an onion, to peel out all those layers of all the ibris, all the things that are unnecessary, so that we can find ourselves, the true self of who we are at the end. Also wanted to say that I'm very grateful for being born in France and living in France. For any democracy, it is the freedom to speech, the freedom to express ourselves about religion, about spirituality, about politics, about social world, about personal intimate things. It is this freedom of speech is very enjoyable, and so we have to have some gratitude for. We are always showing the darker aspect of things, but there is a lot of good things that have come as the evolution of our society. And so I'm going to start this project. For me, it's a cultural project of galleries and salons and many other aspects. But first we're going to do it in France, and then in England, in America, in Japan, in Russia, in China, and many other places. And for that I'm going to have to go into many other cultures that are not necessarily, that are very different. For in democracy we have all those rights, but certain countries are not, every country is not on the same level. And we have to respect where they are, where they're at. And so certain countries are more tribal, others are more totalitarian, some more authoritarians, and so we have to respect all those facts and not to be in criticism when I'm going to go there. I'm not going to be there to show the dysfunction of the systems. I'm going to be there to show what's the beauty of the cultural wealth and treasure of spirituality that each culture possesses, in order to elevate the collective consciousness of those places, and then create an international web of consciousness so that we can begin to create a global culture. Unless God asks me to show something, then I will. For that is really the submission to that higher presence. That I'm only here to serve God in all sense, and so we want to be connected and to create this strong connection, and to allow ourselves to have enough trust, and trust that God, our higher self, our soul, have higher wisdom, and we can trust that. We have to keep our hope very solid, always have hope for something new that is coming, to trust what is coming, and to have that faith, that the faith has to be very strong, and to have charity and compassion for all the world, the situation, for ourselves and for the world around us. For faith is solid enough, it can create miracle. understanding that for me, I am essentially my spiritual revelation came through the Buddha. For it is a natural karmic consequences from my past life to realize spirituality through that process of righteousness and the elevation into the realm of light. Yet I feel myself I am Christian as well, because I've been baptized, and also because I follow the way of the Christ, in the sense that I follow unconditional love, I follow unconditional forgiveness, the brotherhood of men, and that is the ideal of the Christ. For the only religion I recognize is the religion of love. But in the sense I am also Muslim, because I recognize Allah as the one that is all, and the all that is one, the Almighty Supreme, the one that is the Father of time and space, beyond all things. And so when you are good, when your heart is sincere, when you radiate love, you don't have, even if you're not Muslim, you still walk in the path of Allah. And then also Judaic in many sense, because I follow the law of Moses: I shall not kill, I shall not steal, I shall not lie. Those are the basic laws. Sometimes you feel in Israel they haven't really realized that. I'm not talking about the people of Israel, but the successive government is still implicated in those wars. And the wars only profit the arms dealer, but they have so much money, so much momentum, so much privilege for so long. They do not want to stop, and so they continue to use the media to enforce the desire. This 1984 program, that war, in order to achieve peace, to have peace, we have to have a constant war that is going on somewhere else, and that is, like George Orwell, needs to be understood. It's the most 1984 is the most powerful political book of the 20th century. It reveals all of the dysfunction of our society. If you read this book, 1984, you will understand all of the ins and outs of all the dysfunction. For we do not want to focus on the dysfunction, we want to move in. I'm bringing it up, but we want to move into this age of light, and to know that the light will override all the other, all love and light, and will override every other programs as we move into this program. For whatever we do not know, whatever we do not have the power to do, God already does, and we have this inner presence within ourselves that is the Spirit of God. So allow yourself to give whatever you do not know, and put it in the hands of God. Trust God to do things for you. When sometimes He will show you that it is your mission to do it, so He will give you the means. But with God, anything is possible. So human beings do not know how great they are, how powerful they are, how magical they can be, and so we are awakening to this new light. And so because for a long time there was the law of non-interference. For every free will had to be able to self-determine, and God was supporting the dark and the light. But now we're moving in the new age, so the dark is no longer supported. So the light has one, the heart has one, love has one, and so now it's every situation that the dark will confront the light, the dark will always lose. For a time it was 50-50 for a long time, but now it is no longer the case. So the law of non-interference no longer comes. For now there's great time of cleansing, understanding that God is all powerful. If He wants to change something, He just changes His thoughts and things change. Of course, we do not know that yet, for we live in isolation here. It is like a lonely planet. But we have this presence. We have to reconnect to that presence within ourselves, and understand this presence is in all things. It is just infinitely patient. That's why. But also understanding that there's negative and positive technologies. And a lot of very negative technologies are being developed behind the veil that the Spirit is preventing them from being released, because they could hurt humanity even more than what our technology that we use are for now. And there is very positive technology that will be liberated soon, that will free mankind forever. For most of the technology we use are neither good or bad, but a lot of them are creating. We're becoming slave of those technologies, and they're creating a great deal of illness. I'm talking about just a nuclear or electromagnetic field. Those are not healthy for the physical body, so we need to move into the 0-point field and use technology that use this 0-point field. That will be the next level. And so I have myself some ideas. I know that I need to meet some other people that will complement my idea to bring those technologies into beings. There is someone that I want to investigate a little bit more, is Akash, the Akash Foundation. I want to see what he's doing over there, because he's really trying to bring that up to the picture. Is really hard. It's having a lot of resistance. So technology is something that has to be used, but we have to be very careful in how we use those primitive technologies that we have. I'm trying to offer what aspect that the truth that I've realized, things that I've realized within myself in this, my spiritual ascension path, also that are at the same time practical, also things that make your life better, that make your life easier. Because the more we resist and we want to stick to the old materialistic program, life is going to get harder and harder and harder for all those who are hanging on to that. For those who are accepting this, that they are to be included within the sphere of light and love, that their original nature is, life will become increasingly lighter as time goes on. For life is removing all those things that are in excess. There is the oracle of death: know yourself, know thyself, nothing more. Everything that's more is in excess, and there is all kinds of things that make us comfortable, that we're used to, that are being removed from us. For we eventually, once God will have removed everything, and the universe will have removed everything, we'll find ourselves with just us and God above, and we'll be one. There will be this unity of creation, and then we'll be able to fill that void with so many other things. But for now, sometimes it feels like, oh well, it's like I had to let go of all those things, and now the new is not yet here, so it's like feel a bit empty. But it's a matter of being patient, for that at the end we're going to find this great connection, this permanent connection to God and to the fifth dimension. We're going to be integrated within a new crystalline field of unity consciousness, where telepathy will become the means of communication. We'll be able to have all kinds of new power, new body, new form within this dimension. I was speaking in my other video about the ninth dimension, but first we need to integrate the fifth dimension, this multi-dimensional matrix, and which is outside of time and space. And so this is really where we go when we sleep, and it is where our soul resides. So it shouldn't be that hard, because we're already there. So it's just a matter of letting go of the veils and the conditioning. Well, I hope this message was interesting for you. I'm going to pull a few cards. The highest wisdom for us today is the Greco-Roman. It's about reconnecting to those memories of this great. There was a great empowerment 35,000 years ago. There was those great beings from outer space that came in and they took a human form, and they interacted with the human body, and they left stories as the Greek gods of mythology. But they are divine, benevolent beings that are here in assistance. They are great masters of light that are elevated themselves beyond what we can conceive as normal life. Or they were immortal. They knew of their immortality even before they came. So they were always six to nine dimensional being, and then but there is a lot of wisdom and understanding that can come from revisiting those stories through astrology or mythology, or reconnecting to those powers, those divinity forces, to return to this self-empowerment. What we need to understand is the mother. It's our mother. It's Mother Sophia, the great mother, the great spirit of the universe. It is the divine love, the understanding of to allow ourselves to bask within love, to surround ourselves with love, to wear a cloak of love, to become receptive to this divine feminine. Whether we are man or woman, we have to allow ourselves to feel that love of the planet Earth. Then what we need to do is the high priest or priestess. It's about regaining those powers. We already had those powers that were open in past lives. So it's just a matter of reconnecting to those memories, become time traveler, to be able to travel in the future and the past, to allow ourselves enough space, to enough freedom, so that we can do that and reintegrate those powers. And the outcome is the farm. The farm is we're going to return to a much more natural way of living, more or less chemical. We have to nourish ourselves. We have to change our alimentation to get a better, to take care of our health is very important right now. And also the farm is the idea of nourishing ourselves, to connect with this Mother Earth in order that everything grows, and we find a nourishment from that, and we are able to nourish others. And so I hope this message was interesting for you. I'm going to finish with a little song. The painting behind me is a painting, a strange painting about ascension of the planet. There's all kinds of codes that are in this painting, and many of my work is very symbolic. And very often I feel like I should present those paintings as untitled, without commentary, just like the painting, because the painting has to be able to stand on its own with enough, without explanation. If you need to explain it, something is missing in the painting. So, and I do think my painting work as what it is, without explanation. There's enough mystery, enough engagement for those who are engaged within that are engaging with the image to discover, to find their own discovery and awaken their own cellular memory in relation to what the painting is communicating. Yet when I'm going to do exhibitions and I'm going to do catalog, I will provide a commentary. For sometimes there is great, even for me, there are certain mysteries that are in my paintings I'm finding out years later. For it's a collective, when I paint, I work as a collective consciousness, a spiritual consciousness, and so that what makes it more magical as well. For nothing is always planned. It's moment by moment by moment, one step at a time. And at the end, everything works as this is like the plan of God. We do not know it's going to work, but we know it's going to work because we trust God in all ways. So I'm going to finish with this song. It's a song about celebrating life. It's called Imagine. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. Ooh, ooh, ooh. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. Ooh, ooh, ooh. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. I thank you very much for sticking till the end. Let us make this world where everybody can live as one. Let us envision that. Let us pray for that. Let us make it happen. And so it is. And so it is. Thank you very much. I wish you a wonderful day. Namaste.